Scientists have been held hostage for 3 weeks at the time of making this video in Chernobyl, Ukraine, and they've finally been released by the Russian military. Now, what does that tell you? That tells me that Russia might be one of the worst militaries in mission planning in all of military history, and I'll tell you why. If you're going to invade a country that literally has one of the worst nuclear hotspots in the whole world, they have something called the elephant's foot. If you stand next to this piece of lead and nuclear waste for 3 minutes, you die, and if water touches this thing, it could explode. Russia invades this portion of the country. There's a whole battle. No regard for human life, and here's why. They didn't even bring their own scientists to replace the Chernobyl scientists. After these hostages have been released, the only reason why they were allowed to be released is because volunteers stepped in and they said, hey, we are going to watch the site to make sure nothing happens and that the whole world doesn't explode from a nuclear fallout. It goes to show how reckless and how bad Russia is at mission planning and how they have no regard for human life. In fact, this goes against Russia's own laws of war. And I'll tell you why. There's something called the international humanitarian law that Russia signed and pretty much everyone else in the world signed, and let's get to it. The commander and staff, while organizing and conducting combat operations, firmly securing combat mission accomplishment, shall ensure respect of international humanitarian law, taking every possible precaution to avoid, or if not possible, to minimize losses among civilian population and damage to a civilian property. Now, again, taking every possible precaution to avoid, or if not possible, to minimize losses among the civilian population. Now, Chernobyl, literally, the world is lucky that when the Chernobyl reactor exploded, it didn't cover the whole world. It just covered some parts of Europe. So, if you're a military and you're thinking, hey, we're going to invade a country, but let's just remember, this country has an area that could literally take us out and take them out. Maybe we should bring in some of our scientists. We should maybe talk it out. If we're going to go invade, let's just bring some of our guys to make sure this place doesn't explode. No, we're going to have like an epic battle that's going to go for a few hours. There's going to be real rounds flying, and let's just hope that the Ukrainian scientists are going to be there, and the Ukrainian forces are just going to stand down, because it's their fault if anything happens, and that is the Russian mindset. They're always playing the blame game, and we also know this as well. Another reason why I think the Russian military, one of the worst militaries in all of history, is because they are already relying on the fact that if the whole world, and if they're going to lose this war against Russia, we are willing to use our nuclear technology. They have not said they are not going to use their nuclear tech, which means that they are willing to use their nuclear tech. And I think this is one of the lamest things in all of history, and it shows how Russia could give a crap about their own people, about the whole world. Now, I'm not saying this is going to result into a nuclear war and we need to worry about Chernobyl exploding. What I am saying, though, is that Russia is very close to being on that fine line of not caring, because who cares? Russia is so deep in. It reminds me of a little kid who takes candy from the jar and they don't get caught, so they keep doing more things. They keep doing more things. And hey, now even Russia's trying to get their best friend Belarus involved, because this is kind of fun. Who's going to do anything to us because we're so deep into this war already? I hope this war ends soon, and I hope it doesn't lead to any sort of nuclear fallout. I don't think it will, because, again, Putin and Russia is being watched like a hawk. Everybody is watching them, but I want you guys to remember this. If they're willing to take over Chernobyl without bringing in their own scientists, with no regard for human life, Russia is breaking international humanitarian laws, and they need to be held accountable.